Hello everyone and welcome back to the Calham64 LP Retrospective, and today, well, last time we looked at the previous LP I did, which was Crash Twinsanity for the PS2, and that was a lot of fun, but the memories are flooding back with this one as I'm going to be talking about my blind LP of Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon. Or as it's properly known as just Spyro Year of the Dragon, but I don't know, just Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon just makes more sense to me. I'm going to be talking about that and dissecting it and telling you what I like and dislike about it and stuff. Pretty much similar to all the other ones that I've done before. Okay, this LP, at the time of making it, was the longest LP that I ever made on the channel. The one before that, which had gone on for quite a long time, was The Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap for the Game Boy Advance, because that was around, like, over 30 episodes long, and, you know, before Spyro 3 came on my channel, that game was the longest one that I ever did. But Spyro 3 took months, like, in development and that, you know, it was a very long LP going on. A lot longer than I thought. I remember a friend telling me that, yeah, you can do Spyro 3, but I will warn you, you will be there for a while if you plan to beat it, you know, to 117%, which I did in the end. And that friend was not lying. I was there an awfully long time. I mean, the project started in around October time. It's pretty much during my first year of university, actually. So it was around that sort of time or so, October, and it finished in late January. It was like, you know, a 3-month project going on, and it wasn't really delayed that much either. It was still constantly going on and stuff, and just, I don't know. I just remember it being so long, but oh my god. Even though it was such a long LP, it's probably one of my most memorable and favourite LPs that I've made. Not in terms of actually when you watch it, it's like one of the greatest LPs ever, which I don't mean it in that way. I just mean for memories, for me, the creator, it holds a special place in my heart. It was an LP project that truly felt like an adventure, you know, compared to everything else that I made before, where it was simply just Game Boy Advance games, Game Boy games, which only went on for a couple of episodes. This was one huge, gigantic adventure, you know, that I really loved every moment of. And it was a good decision choosing to do Spyro 3 as well, because before, you know, doing the LP of Spyro 3, I had played Spyro 1 and 2, pretty much both of them to 100%, so I was already familiar to how Spyro works in general and stuff. So when it came to actually doing Spyro 3, it was easy for me just to jump in, you know, and just play through Spyro 3, given the fact that I was already familiar with the controls and how everything works, the gems, the collecting. Not quite so much the dragon eggs, because, you know, they didn't appear in Spyro 1 and 2, but it definitely helped me out, given the fact I played the other 2 games before that, and that's one reason why. The other reason why this LP existed in the first place is this was also done as a request from a friend. In case you're curious though, the friend was known as Blazing Kitsune. Apparently she's dead. The friend who I'm talking about is Blazing Kitsune Ella, even though she was known about that for the back then or so, whereas nowadays, you know, her actual channel name is called 8-Bit Els. I remember her just, you know, her favourite game of all time is Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon, and I really liked playing through Spyro, and then I said to her, hey, well, you know what, why don't I do the third game as a blind project? And she seemed pretty excited about that, so I thought, well, I guess I might as well do it then. I mean, I've said it to a friend, I've said that I'm going to do Spyro 3 as like a request, so there's no going back now, and good thing too, because I loved it. I loved every minute of it. So, yes, 8-Bit Els, if you're watching this at all, I hope you appreciate it. Because of it also being a game that was very easy to jump into, that meant that actually getting to find time to record it was a lot easier when compared to doing Mega Man X and Donkey Kong Country, because, you know, Mega Man X is goddamn hard in places, Donkey Kong Country is challenging, but to me, the Spyro games just are not really a challenge to me at all. They're just casual to play through, and I know, it's just something I can pick up and easily play, even if, you know, I don't really touch a Spyro game in a long time. After saving at a certain point, I can easily just pick up where I last came from and just continue where I was, without any issues. And that's how it worked when trying to record Spyro 3. There wasn't really a single time where during the LP I was like, oh my god, I gotta record more Spyro 3, and just get more of it done, and oh my god, why is it not ended yet? No, I was always like, yes, Spyro 3. I'm really up to playing some Spyro 3 and stuff. I'm gonna record it and have a fun time. And it was just swell, you know, there wasn't one moment where I was just getting fed up with the project going on for so long. Honestly, I didn't want it to end. It was that fun, really, when trying to record it. I will admit, though, there is one thing I get confused about whenever I look back on this LP. When I look back at some of the comments that I had around at the time, you know, whilst making the LP project, I remember the majority of them being stuff like, oh my god, you're so good at this game, wow, I never got past that bit the first time and stuff, oh my god, you're so good. It's Spyro. I don't really consider Spyro a challenge and stuff. In fact, I don't think many people consider Spyro to be a challenging series, or at least, you know, the first 3 games to be a challenge in the first place anyway. So I didn't really get it when people were like, oh my god, you're so good at this game. I'm like, yeah, I know, but it's Spyro, it's casual. I don't really see this as a challenge in the first place. Nobody should, to be honest. Because I don't really know. Except I will admit, the actual boxing match that you do, you know, when you play as Bentley and stuff, yes, that's a bit of a pain in the ass. That's a challenge right there. But all the other stuff, I'm just like, yeah, I know, but it's casual. I just don't get it, but still. Also, can I just say, it feels really good to be recording this on the actual PS1 disc this time around. The actual LP was recorded on an emulator, so of course from time to time, given the fact that my laptop wasn't really the best, sometimes the game would crash and I had to reset stuff going on during the time, and I still have my memories to this day of when I recorded through Fireworks Factory, and at some point I stopped the recording going on and went to click onto it again, but I didn't save at that time, so of course that meant that when the game crashed I was like, it's okay, I'll just reset it and continue where I was. But when I went back to it, it literally reset everything. So I had to do the whole entire thing through Fireworks Factory all over again just to get back to where I was. It was really annoying. I remember that. And literally, when I just realized it at that point, I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm done recording. I'm done. So I just turned it all off. And I was like, okay, I'm recording tomorrow. Okay, I'm not literally catching up to it just to get back to that thing because it was quite lengthy getting to it in the first place, given the fact that, you know, it involves shooting those dragons down that fly around, and that takes freaking forever to do, if you ask me. So of course, the current footage that you see is actually recorded on an original PS1 with Spyro Year of the Dragon, you know, on a PlayStation 1 disc. This is all being recorded directly from a PS1, hooked up via RGB SCART, so it looks somewhat a bit nicer, and a lot more better cropped down as well, as you see. The problem I find that I look back on, honestly, to this day, and it still bothers me a lot also, is when I look back at it, I realized that when I recorded Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon on the emulator, I did actually record it in the right aspect ratio whilst, you know, recording it on my PC, but when actually editing it, for some reason I decided to stretch it full screen. Now, while that doesn't really bother a lot of people, by now, if you know me, you know that I'm a person that's very picky with aspect ratios and resolution. Spyro, Year of the Dragon, and in fact the majority of PS1 games were designed in a 4:3 aspect ratio, so stretching them to a full screen 16:9 aspect ratio is not a good idea if you ask me. So of course, you know, I just sometimes wish that even though I did make Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon LP, it was shrunk down. It was cropped, because making it full screen makes everything look stretched. That's only a little nitpick though, from me. I remember it being very satisfying though when the LP came to a close. Even though I was sad given the fact that I was like, oh man, Spyro 3, you know, it's all over and stuff. There's not anything else to show off and things, so it's just move on to another LP. It was really satisfying given the fact that, you know, it bypassed Minish Cap. That was my goal really at the start of it also. When it came to Spyro 3, I was like, okay, Spyro 3, I've heard it's a long game from my friend, so hopefully it should beat Minish Cap in terms of, you know, the duration of the LP going on, and it did for sure, because it had a grand total of 48 episodes. There's like nearly 50. And in fact, Spyro 3 also is longer than Metro Prime, which was another blind LP that I did recently and stuff, and that was over like 40 episodes going on, but it still doesn't beat how long Spyro 3 went on for. It was a really long project. I remember the outro being a bit different compared to everything else. Given the fact that the LP went on for a long time, I thought, that each episode I would have something, memorable to say, as like some sort of quote, if you will, or at least, I don't know, just a highlight of the episode. So every time each episode would end, a highlight of an episode would appear, and then the main theme would play, and, then it would cut to the next previous playlist, but with fire going on, given the fact that it was, Spyro, he breathes fire and stuff. But I just remember, even though, yeah, it was exciting at first, I suppose, just picking out highlights for the episode, because it was different, instead of just playing music with links going on. It did get a bit stale after a while, because it meant that, I had to find a highlight for every episode going on. Even if it was an episode that wasn't that exciting, I had to pick out something that was somewhat interesting to make as the outro, and I just remember that being like, it's fun, but only do it for like a short LP going on, I suppose, because doing that for like a whole long LP is draining. Very draining. Also, one thing you may be a bit confused about if you've been following this retrospective is the fact that the 2 LPs I talked about before were recorded, on actual hardware instead of emulation, but Spyro 3 was actually recorded with an emulator. The reason behind this is mainly because even though I could literally get a actual copy of Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon, I did look about this, before when trying to decide how to make the LP project in the first place. The problem is, I didn't really have the biggest tech at the time, so recording on an actual PS1 would mean that I'd have to record through really bad composite video, and it wouldn't really look as good, and I wanted the game to come out basically in the best quality that I could, so that's why I kind of just had to go with emulation in the end. I would have preferred to just record from an actual PS1 system, because I don't know, that's just the kind of person that I am. I like to record from original material, which is why pretty much everything that I do on my channel nowadays is recorded from actual systems going on. But, I had to do it. I had to do emulation because I wanted the quality to be good, not bad. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon. It was a really long LP, one of the more memorable ones due to how long it was and the fact that it felt like a full adventure for an LP going on, not just a simple series going on, but literally one gigantic game and one huge adventure. And then just having it all end, in a nice way was very satisfying. Yes! Yes! I did it! I finished the f***ing game! Yes! And just, I don't know, I have a lot of memories from it for that sort of way. Given the fact that it was Spyro 3, I was already a fan of Spyro in the first place, so it was just a nice, casual LP to go through. So, join me next time where I'm going to be talking about the next game after that, which was a hell of a lot shorter, which was Sonic Spinball for the Sega Mega Drive / Genesis. And by small, I mean literally around 4 to 5 episodes, I think. It was immensely small when compared to Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon. So, join me next time where I'll be talking about that. See you then. To see the next episode of this retrospective series, go to here. To see the full playlist of this series going on, go to here. To see the original LP of the one I have critiqued, go to here. Or even consider subscribing to the channel by going to here instead. Thank you for watching.